Hey. Okay, if you all join me in reciting the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, good morning and welcome to the February 1st, 2021 Board of Commissioners meeting. As always, the first item on our agenda this morning is the opportunity for public comment. All we ask is that you remain brief and respectful. So that being said, the floor is open to anyone, and I don't see any hands going up. So we'll just go right on to our first gentleman on the agenda this morning. That's Mr. Matt Kelly, and
Okay.
the floor is yours.
I will not take up much of your time, Josh.
Nope.
You already know I'm here.
Nope. Yep.
Just trying to get our road chip and sealed. I was doing some math the other day on it. And our road is 100 north and it turns into 530. That's 7/10 of a mile. There's 4 nice houses, family homes, landowners. You only have to do that 7/10 of a mile chip and seal. We would be extremely happy.
Okay.
So, I mean, Josh, I've already been here.
We were here a couple years ago. I
I think it
remember.
was about this time last year.
Was it last year?
It was pre-mask. I remember that. That's how
Yeah,
I remember
that's right,
everything. But since you got some new members, I'd probably put it in your guys' wheelhouse again. And see.
Sure. And just to refresh my memory, I'm pretty confident I know where you live, Matt, but that's 100 north,
100
west
north.
of 450
Yep.
west, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Just
And
right.
then it goes down and curves and turns into 530, is that
Yes.
right? Okay, so
Yes.
you're talking about 7/10 of a mile, and that's currently gravel, is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So you're looking for the triple seal conversion like we've done on other roads? Is
Yeah,
that
that
what
would be
you're thinking?
great. I mean, something just to.
Okay.
It seems like it gets quite a bit of traffic just from those 4 houses, and it just
Right.
turns into mud. And
No, I understand. We've got, you're not alone.
oh, I know, I know.
But you know, we'll see what we can do. We did do a lot of that last year, obviously, because we had problems with COVID and
Sure.
everything got
Sure.
backed up. But we'll certainly take a look at it, Matt.
Yeah, I
I
just
you know, I
wanted-
can't really give you an answer up or down today, but I think it's worth looking at.
Yeah. I just want to put it in your guys' wheelhouse again.
Yeah, because we have had good luck with the triple seal conversions, and it's compared to paving, it's
Yeah.
really inexpensive.
Yeah, we don't need paving, just something.
Right. Okay.
Stop the mud and the dust would be awesome.
Awesome.
I do kind of agree with Matt. Probably in the last few years, there's been more nicer houses in one stretch than probably anywhere in the county.
Okay.
So,
Thanks for your time.
Hey, you're welcome, Matt. Have a good day. Stay warm, man.
All right, thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda this morning is Rick Campbell. Good morning, Rick.
Morning.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you guys?
Good. Are you rested up, or were you guys
Yes.
out all night, or?
We was out 5:30 Saturday till 1:30 Sunday morning, and then we went back out again at 4 Sunday morning. And
Yeah.
we got back in about 12:30 Sunday afternoon, and the guys went back out this morning again at 5 to check everything and salt and sand everything real good.
Yeah.
They're blowing in on us though right now.
Right,
so
yeah, that's what I
it's going to be a little while. But I've got a couple contracts here with the state. I think you guys have already been emailed and
On the
Randy's
bridges?
signatures and
Yeah. Yep.
everything needs up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And on those, I think just one signature. So Kevin had asked me for you to motion to allow one person to sign on behalf of the board. I think that's how they are.
They're gonna be in an order or something. Or particular, everybody's gotta sign.
Is
I
that
think it's everybody has.
Is everybody
to
has
sign,
to
yeah.
gotta be in particular
Used to.
order.
right?
There's 2 of them
Okay, thank you.
there. They're where the yellow tabs are.
Rick, the roads did look good. Did a good job.
Thank you. Yeah, everybody's doing a good job.
Yeah, I think what happened was, Tom, and I'm not trying to argue with you,
No,
I think I signed these, and then we wound up figuring out that they want us to, everybody to sign them. Yeah, I should have said I signed them, and they wanted. So. You guys got any questions or anything for Rick while we're?
Equipment, all okay? Any problems?
Yeah, everything's fine. We had a hose get loose and the guy lost his hydraulic well, but we got that put back and the hose tightened up, so we're good.
Good. Not like the old days, is it?
No.
Everything changes, doesn't it? Okay, Mark. What else is going on? Anything? Just keeping our fingers crossed for
Patching roads with one,
warmer
open up
weather.
on them.
Yeah.
We have, some old trucks
Mhm.
that are supposed to go to Wamford. You guys know about that? There's an old number 4 truck and an old 48 truck that was replaced, and they're not any good.
Okay.
And I just wanted to, before we tell them to Wamford, make sure you guys know about it.
Britt, is there any kind of, when we dispose of county-owned property, is there any kind of procedure that we need to go through?
I know I have to have the title.
Okay.
Yeah, call Gina upstairs in my office and she has all those, so we can take care of that.
I just didn't want to throw them away without you guys.
Yeah,
knowing.
no, I appreciate it. I probably wouldn't have known the difference, but so thank you.
They're not any good at all. One of them's got to blow up engine.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yep, thanks, Greg. Yep,
We'll get these over to the state.
Awesome, thanks, Britt. Okay. We'll come back to her. If she has to, Liz isn't here right now, if she happens to come in, we'll jump back and catch up on area plan. We'll go ahead and move on to old business. We've got a pay app with Atlas Excavating that we need to approve for the sewer project. We also have a pay app from JG Case, who's working on the water portion.
I'll make a motion to approve Atlas pay app.
I'll second.
Okay, motion carries 3-0.
Make a motion to approve the JG Case pay app.
Second.
Okay, motion carries 3-0 on pay apps.
I think it's just one signature, isn't it?
Yeah, I can't remember. I don't even
It's
think we
just mine. It's just the.
We don't sign it, right?
We don't even sign it.
We're gonna have Britt takes them and then runs it.
Liz is coming in.
Okay, good.
Go to the podium.
Welcome, Liz. Come on over. Perfect timing. Good morning.
Morning. Got two things,
Okay.
well, two sets of things, I guess is the more accurate way to say it.
Okay.
So I'll do the least fun one and then the more fun one. So, you each a copy of this. So these are the currently open unsafe structure cases under your unsafe structures ordinance.
Okay.
I've written in a few little notes as well, just to help make it a little bit clear where we're at with a few of them. So I'll kind of go through these starting with page 1 and working my way to the back. And page 1 is the most recent, and then we'll work our way back to the oldest one. So we've got one here in Farmers Gravel. We just got a complaint last year. That sold in tax sale to a neighbor who's already declared he intends to take it down.
Okay.
So we haven't been pushing resources into trying to get it removed. We're just monitoring it. He'll get possession later this year.
Okay.
So, but it is an open case. The second one is over in Hillisburg on Oak Street. I've had this open since 2019, and there's an ownership challenge with this. The owner is actually deceased, and then there were taxes that were discounted because somebody had been claiming they were disabled. So we'd gotten those removed upstairs. It had gone through tax sale, but I noticed that this year, Florence Cole, the deceased person, has paid taxes and looks like redeemed it, which is sort of mystifying. So we're going to look into that some more, but our problem with resolving this case has been you can't take very much action against a dead person. So until we can get somebody living, it limits what we can and can't do. The third one is, you would know it as the Stowers case. That's the double wide that we condemned out east, and he's made his way through getting a septic plan that he has under construction. He has not completed his subdivision steps, so I think this year that's either gonna end up getting pushed from an enforcement perspective or resolving, one or the other. On page 4, from 2018, we've got the Michigan Town Roadhouse. I think you're all familiar with it. Used to have 4 units there. I'm recommending that we try to come back to that one and renotice it and remove it this year. It hasn't proceeded in any way, shape, or form. He's been in on several occasions and said he's gonna put siding on if someone just works with him, and nothing perpetually happens. So I would recommend we consider trying to resolve that. It's one of the 2 that I'd let council know we'd hope to maybe address this year.
Okay.
And they indicated they were open to allowing for some budget for that on a case-by-case. On
Yep.
page 5, this is the other one, and honestly, the top priority that I'd like to try to get completed in 2021, and council's also aware of this one. This is the elevator over in Manson. And last year, some of you would recall, we took the office scale house down and we took part of the debris down, but the rest of the wood structure is frankly quite dangerous and remains. I think the goal would be not to attempt to remove the concrete, but to try to get the rest of the wood out of there this year. And then the last but not least there on the final page is the Jeffersonville School. That's your oldest case from 2015, and that stagnated for a long time because there was an ownership title records parcel issue that Tom and Kathy got resolved. It took a few years to work through. Last year, you put a first lien on it, which I actually noticed wasn't on the treasurer's record, so we're gonna try to look into that with Tom and see why it's not showing up. But I would recommend, if nothing happens, that after the spring taxes are due and there's an opportunity for that person to see it, call us, that we put a second lien on and start putting a little more pressure on that structure. The only thing I guess I would ask specifically today is on the elevator, if there was a willingness to move forward, and perhaps you could indicate if Tom and I can go ahead and prepare and send out bids. So my thought would be this, council, I mean, we all know we don't currently have a line item, but council said in a case by case, they'll work with us. But if we don't have a bid, we don't know what we're asking for.
Yep.
So my recommendation would be we go ahead and take bids, see what those numbers are, and then let council know it's coming, and then give them a number, and hopefully it all kind of comes together and we can get somebody assigned to get that down the first half of this year.
I agree with that.
That's fine with me. I would go ahead and get a bid on the house on Michigan Town Road also.
Okay.
I mean, it's not gonna, I mean, bids are free.
Nope, I agree.
See what it'll look like, and if we can handle both, we'll work on it. If we can't, we'll.
Okay, and let me check with, let Tom and I check it too. The Michigan Town Roadhouse had a technical change of ownership.
Okay.
We may need to re-placard it before we can advertise for
Okay,
bids, but
that's
that's
fine.
only a 10-day timeline, so.
And then, sorry, I'm getting lost here.
Page 5 would be the elevator.
Yes. We're gonna put a second lien on the school, right?
You could today, or you could wait till after spring taxes here in a few months and see if the first lien gets their attention.
Okay.
You can go either way. I noted they
So the
have not
first lien
paid
did- the first
taxes
lien
last
did-
year.
It did, okay, it didn't catch in November last year.
Did not.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. That's all I'm gonna do.
I know your office is swamped. Is there any way to put any signage or caution tape somewhere around the elevator? I've heard, got some calls about kids playing in it.
Well, I believe the redevelopment corp with the county owns that property.
Okay.
So I think the simplest way to approach that would be to have the county entity.
I think we gave it back.
Did you give it back?
Is it back on tax sale now?
I mean, it's back to the commission.
Okay, because I was gonna say, the intent with that property, for those who may not be aware, is COVID has stagnated things, but the intent is to pursue a grant for connectivity between Colfax and Frankfurt along the Nickel Plate, and to have that be some recreational space that could be turned around there south of the school eventually. So we're holding those properties. They're not, you can't get a septic on them. There's no usability for housing. So
Okay.
the hope is to use them for recreational eventually, but I believe they are either way in county possession. So it would make more sense, rather than citing ourselves, to just have somebody go out and do it. And I don't mind volunteering my staff, we just would need the necessary equipment to take care of it. Whether that be tape or whatever else
Okay.
you want us to do.
Do you have any thoughts, Mark?
I'd make a motion to go ahead and get the bids to tear down the wood part of the elevator. It's more unsafe now than it was before we tore down the open part.
Yeah. It's gonna continue to get unsafe. I just wanted to, until we get to that point, if we could put something.
I would think a trespassing sign would be fine.
Okay.
Instead of caution tape, it doesn't last, just put a sign in front of it.
I mean, I do
Sign
think,
it.
given the time of year, and based on what we've seen in the past, if we get a competitive bid, that thing is gonna be down super fast as soon as we've awarded it, if it's any of the normal guys that we work with.
I think we should put a no trespassing sign somewhere, whether the county
Yeah.
does it or who does it, but
We can do that.
start getting bids for it.
You're right, Alan.
City commissioners.
Mhm.
Get the internet.
I don't remember the
Actually, Beacon
circumstances, but it
says
was-
Mike and Katrina Bell.
it came through the
That's two
redevelopment
separate
commission to
portions
accomplish some purpose and went back to the commissioners.
I think
They're in the very
something to
front.
do with it.
Yeah,
South side of it.
so the Bells have the one of the 3 lots, which there's an agreement that when we apply for funding for using that ground, we're gonna purchase back. They had attempted to purchase all 3 years ago and something had gone wrong to where they only got 1. But there's an agreement for them to sell that back at the cost they got it from the county at, as soon as we want it. No part of the elevator is on the part they own. And
According to Beacon, it is. But Beacon's not always right.
well,
Okay.
we had, years ago, we had cited them when she still worked for the city and then discovered that they had no right to be in the elevator and they were
Okay.
mowing the part that they had to mow, but
Okay.
couldn't enter.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
I made a motion to.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead and start accepting bids for it.
Second. Okay, motion carries 3-0.
And it's a passing sign.
Okay.
Maybe county highway could do that or something.
Do you want the trespassing sign on like a separate stake or attached to the building?
Probably right out in front there.
On like a stake?
I don't know.
I mean, we can do that, it's not a big deal.
Somewhere where it's visible from the road or driveway, maybe 2 of them, I don't know.
Okay. And then I'll get with Tom to prepare bids. Okay.
What's the fun part?
Gotta wonder, don't you? So the more fun part is year-end reports, which are good in this case. So each year I go back over what's happened the previous year and kind of try to get a sense for what's happening, what direction we're going, those kinds of things. And I look at all jurisdictions except Michigan Town, which we have no data on, together as I do my reporting, since Frankfurt and Clinton County and the other 4 small towns all share one system. So in 2020, we issued altogether 1,327 permits. So that's an increase over 1,024 in 2019. So we're definitely up, which is awesome considering the effects of COVID and everything else that have come through. We were slightly down on new homes. We issued 34 as opposed to 35, but I wouldn't call a single home a major statistical difference. I mean, that's just timing for when things come in. So I would really say we're kind of even, with where we were the year before. And then Frankfurt issued 10 new homes, so they actually saw an increase. They've got the new subdivision, started out there on the east side of the city, so I think you're seeing some of that, happening there, but that's a good thing. On our side, we created 9 new subdivisions with 12 new lots that were created in 2020. And the cool number, we've got in 2020, we issued $93,172,239 and an odd 27 cents worth of new total valuation. That's an increase over 2019, slightly under 79 million. We calculated that, that's an 18% increase. So that's really significant for us for two reasons. One, we're a rural county. Rural counties in general are experiencing shrinking and challenges, just overall. And then two, we're in the middle of COVID when many places are seeing a stagnation and growing unemployment, and then they're seeing that come out in their numbers everywhere else. People don't have money to spend. So I think that's awesome. And then I did break it out between Clinton County and Frankfort. We saw significant growth. Frankfort shrunk a little, but I would note in both cases, we're very sensitive to individual projects on both sides. So in 2019, Frankfurt had the hospital and Frito-Lay, which were huge projects. They did have those in 2020, but they still saw a huge growth from 2018. And then on our side, we had NHK, which gave us a $20 million bump, over where we were otherwise. So we grew without NHK, but NHK really, you kind of have to keep that in mind. At some point, we'll see these numbers shuffle the other way, even if we're still growing, because those individual values can vary with new projects. I've noted in commercial and industrial construction, we issued right about $75 million worth. It was a 15% increase in growth just in that category. And then the other 3% of growth was in your residential and your agricultural, districts that we saw. I would note, as always, these valuations are a little bit low because neither jurisdiction is 100% consistent in remembering to put in the value of construction. I did know we were way more consistent in 2020 than we were in 2019. I'd estimate we were missing those numbers in maybe 10% of permits versus 25%, the year before. So we're getting better. It's just easy to miss. It's a little line. I noted some facts on violations. This includes the zoning and commissioners violations sort of all together. We currently have 44 open and unresolved cases. That's actually the exact same number of cases as we had this time last year, but it is a different group. We've closed some and opened some others. But I would definitely give credit to my zoning administrator, Kat, to keeping on top of those. 12 cases are still older than 2 years, but 3 of the ones that were in that 12 last year and were in litigation have been resolved in the last year. So we actually have seen a little bit of progress on some of those tough ones. It's just we had 3 more that jumped in that category. And then I won't bother with reading them in detail, but I've gone ahead and I lay out the numbers for the last few years with what remains from those years, just so you can kind of get a sense for how things are shifting. And then I note our oldest case is unchanged. It's still 2007. That's out in Circleville. And although I believe that did go through on tax sales, we hope to have a new owner next year. So we may actually see a change for next year on where we're at with that. And then we have a large gap to 2015, which it was previously 2013. So we closed one of those older cases this last year. And then there's a little bit of a breakout on the Board of Zoning Appeals cases. We've seen a bit of an increase. We heard 50 cases last year, and then I won't read it in detail, but I've broken out where those cases were distributed throughout the various jurisdictions and townships, just so you can kind of get a sense for it. I'm always open to questions. I just try to do this so you guys kind of have an idea of where we're at and what we're seeing on an economic development perspective. And that's all I've got.
We do appreciate this. Which case is 2015 is still open, the second oldest?
Oh, you would ask. I can get that to you. I'd have to.
I didn't know if it was one out there at Michigan Town Blacktop, or that's what I was thinking.
It might be, actually. It might be.
Yeah. It don't matter, Liz. I was just curious.
Yeah, I say I can look it up, and I apologize, I didn't stick it in
No,
there.
no worries.
So,
Thank you. Very helpful.
not a problem. Did you guys have anything else for me?
No, ma'am.
All right, I hope you have a great day.
All right, thanks, Liz. Okay, we'll shift back into old business. We have an ordinance 2021-01, which is vacation in an alley in Kilmore. I think you guys voted on that.
Yeah.
To vacate back on the 4th of January. However, we need to vote on the ordinance today, I think. Is that correct, Jerry?
Yeah. Was there an ordinance before that we need to get rid of, or is this just a new
No, he
ordinance?
didn't bring the ordinance. In fact, we didn't even get the paperwork until that day. So they
Okay.
called and asked about it and said we didn't get one, so they sent it.
I'll make a motion to approve the ordinance to vacate the alley and Gilmore.
Second.
Okay, motion carries 3-0. All right. Moving on to new, you guys have any other old business that we need to discuss today?
No.
Okay. New business, we have, we're just talking about Beacon Schneider. We are annual agreement with them for their services. I believe it's $3,000 some and change.
This is actually, on top of our annual agreement.
Okay.
This is because they, changed the software.
Okay.
In the treasurer's office, and that's what they want to update everything onto that
Okay.
system.
And I apologize, I didn't realize when we changed vendors that we had a fee with Beacon.
I think it's 3,000.
I don't think any of us did.
Have we always had this fee or is this a new fee?
This is something new
new.
because we switched.
It's a
Tax
one-time
software.
thing.
Because we switched tax on.
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to approve that agreement.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion carries 3-0.
That's just one signature.
Okay. Then we have a quarterly statement, or I'm sorry, a quarterly claim from Paul Philby. And I know she sent us a email regarding that. I think you had met with her recently.
Yeah, I met with her. I'm still not sure how that whole thing works, but
Yeah. I think we just act as a pass-through for their,
yeah, that's the way I understood it.
yeah, for their grant program for the federal government. They can't technically, I guess, receive the money maybe because they're a not-for-profit.
Right.
We can, so. Just kind of our way of doing our bit to help them do what they do, so. I entertain a motion to approve that claim.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, motion carries 3-0.
Just Josh signing.
Yeah, just Josh signed it.
Right there.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll put it in
Your
your file.
pocket. Okay, and Alan, we've got a conflict of interest statement for you, but we don't have your signature on it yet, so. You already got it?
Today.
Okay, awesome, okay. We'll go ahead and we'll get that approved, so somebody want to make a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Yeah, okay, that's okay. Motion carries 3-0. Let's add that to my staff. Any other new business this morning? Ray?
I forgot to throw in, to have you sign a microdose annual maintenance agreement.
Okay.
If you'll sign this, please. I appreciate it. Everybody. $12,000, it hasn't changed in quite some time.
Okay. This is just, it's the same thing we do every year?
Same thing every
Okay.
year.
And what is it?
It's a maintenance agreement for Microvote for our,
My voting equipment.
yeah, voting machines.
It's the same thing every year.
Yeah, yep.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Okay. Second. All right, motion carries 3-0.
Thank God.
Good. Any other new business? Greg Miller?
Yeah, just to let the commissioners know, we're still waiting on an address
Okay.
for the property in Boylston until we can finish up that deed transfer. So
Okay.
that's the only, everything else is, we've cleared utilities, everything out there is ready to go. They're just waiting to get that address officially so that she can put that in the deed.
Okay.
And we can get that transferred over to the county. So that's the only thing we're waiting on right now to get that finished up. So I think it's got the subdivision status and they're just waiting for the
Yes.
official address for that. So
Okay. Is that something the postal service decides on? No?
That's area plan.
Okay.
So addresses don't get assigned until you have a legally buildable lot and it
Oh.
meets all the conditions to be able to have development done. So there's been a little bit of a, they're ready to file their subdivision and Jordan, as Plan Commission President, had noted, will call a special meeting when they file. But there's been a little bit of issue with the septic outlet. They decided to outlet it into the drainage area, which works, except that the elevation they quoted no lower than is not physically deep enough to work with either a mound or a traditional system. And so the health department said, wait a second, like, we're okay with it being a little bit big, but it has to physically be possible to meet either the 32 or the 36 inches below the fingers. So I think the engineers were re-examining that and they were gonna have some conversation with Rodney As soon as I hear from the health department that they have an acceptable elevation that will physically work, then I'll be able to accept the filing. But I think they were reworking something. I haven't heard anything in about a week, so I'm guessing it was either a little more complex than it seemed at the start, or, you know, I'm
Can
not
we get
sure.
some help since it's us? I mean, can we get this?
I can't ignore septic regulations. I mean, that's,
I'm not asking you to ignore septic regulations. I'm asking you to. We fought the same thing with the other building, where we hold ourselves up. So, never mind.
They have, Rodney's talked to him, right?
my
Okay,
understanding is
okay.
that Rodney and them are in conversation. I was able to catch Rodney, get a pretty detailed explanation, so I called them back personally. I've given them my personal cell numbers to make myself available at any point in time, you know, that they have, you know, so I can do anything on my end to try to get it to move forward. So they were aware. Last I knew, they understood what the problem was. Their engineer did, and he said he was going to go back to his numbers and then get back to Rodney, and then they would get back with me. And I haven't heard back from them. I can certainly reach out again today, Scott, and see if there's any holdup that I can help with, or that we can help with.
We'll take care of it.
But that's, as far as I know, that's the only thing. Everything else I've reviewed is ready to be filed and heard. It's just having a way to get septic in there that is the holdup.
Okay.
I talked to the engineering company last week, and they were just waiting on a return call to get that back from, they tried to contact Rodney, and, you know, they've made a couple attempts and just waiting to get that back. So they have, I mean, everyone is attached numbers, so there's direct contact between everyone. They can contact, they've got all the contact numbers of each individual. So I think they were just waiting on that, as of last week, or waiting on getting that call back.
I can reach out and ask them to get me their revision, and then I can try calling him too. I mean, sometimes the more people, but I know he's kind of swamped with the vaccine clinics, so.
Greg, was it your understanding in talking to him that they made the changes needed to get the
Yes.
septic to work? Okay.
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
they were comfortable with that. So I think it was just the contact information. So I'll reach out to the engineering firm this morning when I get to the office and see if they've got everything together, and if they can make another attempt to contact him or to contact you then directly.
Okay.
I haven't seen the revised number yet, but I would have to confirm it by the health department too. So if,
Yeah.
you know, if the health department calls me and says it's good, I don't double or second guess those numbers at all. If they say they're good, I'm good.
Well, sounds like I just need to get a hold of Rodney. I mean, obviously he's busy with the vaccine, but maybe it'll be a quick conversation for him to get it moving.
He knew what it needed to be when I
Okay.
talked to him. So I would hope that if the number's been changed, he would know pretty quick if it worked or not.
Okay.
I'll check and verify that
All
this
right.
morning.
Like she said, we can always call a special meeting at the APC to get it moving along so we get it done.
And that's 14 days as long as we have a quorum. Jordan has the power to call those as president. So
Any other new business? Renee?
A couple things, just to kind of keep you in the loop, and Alan as counsel, since you're here as well. Some couple things I'm looking at that I was recently, InDigital is our 911 provider, and that is who we deal with all of our phone system. InDigital has what's called, I was just recently found out a couple weeks ago, it's called a Mevo kit. And what that is basically our phone system in a case. And it is able to, like, if we had some emergency, we could, like, out to the sheriff's trailer, you know, if we needed to, something happened to our building, we could go another place. I went ahead and got quotes for that. You know, I don't know if I will wait for the budget. You know, I know that's the best thing a lot of times, but in talking to InDigital, some of the agencies have already purchased them due to COVID. They are able to separate their people more. Right now, we're pretty good shape, but you never know. If we would get hit again with something where we could move 2 people, I asked for a quote for all 4 phones, so that, you know, we take that, basically all of our 911s would transfer to those, as well as our 8 administrative lines, so that we could go anywhere and answer all of those. You know, obviously in short term, we have a backup with Boone County, you know, but that takes us out of it. It makes more trouble on their end, keeps when they're already busy. So I just kind of want you to know I am looking at that. I think it's important. We don't have a true backup, and, so that we can continue. If we did have something that happened to our building, we're kind of stuck, and this would take care of that. So I just wanted you to kind of know that I am looking into that. I've gotten quotes, so I'm just going to continue to, before I come back to you and let you know what, my thoughts are on all of it. I just kind of wanted to give you a heads up on that. I think it's very important. And then along those lines, your thoughts about me working with Tim. So Colleen and I met with our supervisors last week, and one of our struggles right now in our training, when we are at full staff, of course, we only have 4 positions, and our trainer has to be and know what's going on with the trainee. So our trainer is tethered so they can listen to all phone calls and radio, but when we're at full staff, that person doesn't have a computer.
Okay.
Wanting to know, to go along with those lines, so we would have a laptop to be able to use, but one with Spillman on it, so that the trainer, knows exactly what's going on with the trainee on the computer, and not sitting on top of them, leaning over them, trying to see what they're doing on the computer.
Gotcha.
So I didn't know if that's something that, I needed permission to work with Tim to see about trying to get that accomplished, to have a laptop in dispatch for those types of things. And then obviously we would have it set up to be able to go along if we had an issue. Obviously I have my laptop and that can be utilized, but it's usually with me at home, like I use it over the weekend for the travel advisory. So just kind of wanted to, your thoughts on that, to proceed with that.
So you need another laptop, is that what you're saying?
Yes,
I don't have a problem.
I don't have a problem either. How many do we have around that we bought for COVID, Tim? It's just that now.
There's 40.
40?
I
That shouldn't be a problem.
I turned 2 or 3 back in from my office, so
Okay.
you've got a few.
Specific, we're not going to have, we can't have IDAX on it, which is how we run our licenses, but Spillman is our main, that's our thing, so that we can add calls if we have to, that person back there in the event we have to move, but it's also for the trainer as well, to be able to utilize it and keep track of what's going on.
Okay, we'll figure, I think we can figure something out, we'll get you. I don't have a problem with that if you guys are.
Okay, we've got plenty of.
Okay. The only other thing the sheriff did great. EMS, Josh, you were participated Friday, we had our tabletop drill. That's pretty neat. I mean, tabletop drills, it is a learning tool, but, Dr. Hannah's awesome
Yeah,
to
I
work
had no
with.
idea that Zoom had that many options to.
Right, the breakout rooms and
Yeah,
things.
that's pretty
It's always a good learning,
Yeah.
learning tool, so I thought it went well.
Yeah.
So it went well.
It did,
So,
yep.
yep.
Very informative, and it was good for, like you said, we were talking the other day, it was really good for the school system.
Yes.
To see how that would
Yes.
play out in kind of
Yes.
situation, so.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
all right.
all right. Thank you.
Any other new business or department head reports?
I might have gotten left out on the old business. Are we at old business yet, or?
We're past old business, man.
Okay, well, just,
Come on.
let's check on the
Yeah.
vehicles and,
Yes.
you guys' information, and that's probably the real thing that, we need. But, as far as department reports, we're at 61, by this afternoon, we'll be at 61 on the federal inmate, program. Everything's moving. Great job by County Highway, over the weekend. Also, with the, project we did on Friday with the LEPC and the Clinton County Safe Community, or Safe Schools, on the tabletop. And it did bring a lot of things where it truly probably was more realistic than anything. If it was hazmat, everybody would have to be remote regardless.
Right.
So, and other than the first responders on scene. So it was nice to get that put together, and just like anything, Zoom is pretty amazing when it comes down to, putting those meetings together. But, as far as everything else, operations, everything's moving pretty good. We're getting a couple vehicles back hopefully this week from major repairs, and should be back out on the road. So, I mean, the question of the day is this: Jordan was able to bring us, a dealership that had 8 of the police package vehicles that were prepped and ready to be delivered. So that's what we're
Which is that's what we were looking for this year, right?
Yes.
That's
Yes,
the
sir.
number, so we're back where we wanted to be there.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then I know Alan and Jordan, you guys have been talking and crunching the numbers, and you sent it to me, I think, a couple days ago.
Yeah.
And I had a chance to look at it, and it seems to me like things are in the
Everything
correct
works.
order.
Yeah.
Okay,
It works.
and then where do we stand with the interlocal agreement, Tom?
Well, that's, wanted to ask you if you wanted an interlocal, if you wanted to do resolutions, or we can
Yeah.
do both, whatever you prefer. I don't know if it matters as long as we have something.
Okay, that's kind of the question today. I don't think anybody's questioning buying vehicles or whether or not we have the ability to do so this year. I think we need to decide how we want to move forward, whether or not that's in resolution form, dual resolutions, or to have an interlocal agreement between the three parties, or
Well,
that's something that you and I have not had a chance to talk about, and I don't know. We've been talking amongst ourselves, and I think the consensus on our side was, I think you got gentlemen were more comfortable with an interlocal agreement. Is that correct? Or am I?
I kind of felt like with the resolution in the interlocal,
Okay.
but maybe that's overkill.
No problem.
I mean, I think the thing to consider is this is potentially a very long-term plan, and any of us could or could not be in these
Right.
positions at that time. And so it puts future people in the know of what's going on and what we've agreed to, rather than just kind of have it out there as a gentleman's agreement. So I think that was the understanding of getting it all on paper. So if anything did change,
That's correct.
everyone was on the same page.
If we're not here, or for some reason you're not here, Sheriff, or Alan,
Well, we had
set motion.
That was my point, was we're gonna have majorities of the council and
Yeah.
commissioners both up for election in 2022. The sheriff
Yeah.
position will be up for election. All of the major parts of this agreement, the agreement extends beyond that election date. It really does feel like if we're gonna agree to this now, it needs to be in writing and something that's
That way
binding.
somebody doesn't come in and just flip the table over, upset the apple cart, and, you know.
What's the quickest way to make this happen then? Because we've been talking about this.
Yeah.
I'd like to interject a couple things on my behalf. I did receive the email Friday, and I'm not gonna hold anything back. I'm gonna say, this does need to be looked at, but, I mean, just like anything, we were pretty busy this weekend. I know everybody else has, a life outside of these meetings.
Yeah.
I would like to sit down with commission, council, representatives, and talk about this and the county attorney. I really would. I'd like to really get into it and look at it. And I understand, going beyond 22 or this year, 21 and the 22 and then 23. So I am absolutely, let's sit down and talk about it. But, an email on a Friday doesn't, really give me the opportunity to look at it. And I think as well as the county and as well as my office is that there should be, clauses in there that provide that ability to say, whatever the case may be, but whether it's an agreement or whether it's, however we look at it, that everybody has that option of out, or that option of, I need to look at all the options, is what I'm kind of getting at. And I'd like to sit down with, representative of council and commission and sit there and talk about that and put something together that's gonna work for everybody.
Sure. Anyone have any thoughts? Mark, your question was, how do we get this, what's the quickest way to get new cars ordered? Right?
Yeah, because I don't know how long this dealership's gonna hold them for Clinton County either.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that
They
question.
sold 35 last week, is what he told me. So.
I don't know that these things have to happen in a particular order. I know that we've committed,
With regard to the fact that the first 8 are all contained within the 2021 budget year, if you wanted to separate that out from the remainder of the plan, I think that could work. And you can give permission to do the first 8, and then we work on the interlocal agreement for the part that's of the longer term. Might be a way to handle it.
Okay.
The council's given our consent. We haven't done an actual additional appropriation yet, but given our consent for the purchase of those first 8.
right? Obviously, we all agree that both things need to happen, but it doesn't have to particularly be in a certain order. I think we can order these vehicles and be okay.
Yeah, you could do.
That's just my thoughts.
Do it now, and then I can memorialize it later in the agreement too, so that's not.
Due to the fact that we don't want to take a chance on losing these
Right.
vehicles again. That's
My
my
fault.
thought. You went to the trouble to find them. What are your thoughts?
I think so kind of the preface, there was a microchip that is no longer being made in China that can't be brought over here. So that's why they put the vehicles on hold. So we were able to locate some more that had been ordered. And so I do think it's important that we get these ordered here as soon as possible because we could lose them, is basically it. But I also think as long as we don't drag out the resolution in the interlocal, that we're going to commit to sitting down and getting through it here quickly, then I would be fine in getting these 8 because as Alan said, that they're budgeted for. We've run the numbers and they work in this scenario. So I'm okay with getting it based on the circumstances.
Okay, great.
I'll make the motion to go ahead and purchase the first 8 vehicles from the dealership in, is it Fort Lane?
Yeah, Kelly on.
Yeah.
Okay.
No relation.
Now I get it.
Motion carries 3-0. Chairman,
Thank
get them ordered, bud.
I do appreciate it, that, because we are at a point where we're spending an exorbitant amount of money trying to keep some of the older vehicles on fleet. So, and with that, as far as, the business, I did receive, and I'll send this information out to the commissioners as well as council, just to keep you a heads up, that I've been asked to do a sale for the Frankfort City Police Department. They have several vehicles and I think some other property that has to be sold. And it comes back to the county. I'll send you something, Mr. Little, and so that you know what vehicles, and they have deeds and they have court orders for everything. And then we'll set a sale up. I hope we don't have to move anything. I hope we can do it at wherever they've got it stored at. But I thought, well, if the county highway has scrap and old equipment to get rid of, I mean, if we're gonna make it a sale, we might as well get rid of the things that aren't being utilized anymore. So, I mean, if we have to, but I'll get with all of you guys with regards to, I'll send you an email that I received, and then we'll move forward into setting a date, and then find out, and I gotta look at the IC code to see the advertising time, things like that, and I'll talk with Mr. Little in regards to getting that taken care of, get rid of their vehicles, and if there's things that we don't have in service anymore, it might be a good idea for the county agencies to be able to throw it in there and just be done.
Okay.
Whatever the case is, but I think if I'm gonna spend the time to do one sale, might as well just add to it and be done, make it a day. That's really it. Thank you very much. Appreciate the work and effort on everybody's part. Thank you.
Thanks, Sheriff.
Mr. Dunn, thank you.
What's my deal? There it is. Okay. Any other department heads? Okay, Commissioners, do you have anything to report?
I do not.
No. Okay, I kept calling him Mark Jackson, who used to play for the Pacers, but his name was Todd Jackson. And so we got our annual property and casualty renewal was effective today. So we need to get that approved so that we can sign that. No major changes other than we switched carriers. It's no longer Bliss McKnight. It's gosh, he told me, and I can't remember the name of it, but Bliss, but he was concerned with Bliss McKnight and had some issues, internal issues, that they weren't really a viable insurer for us anymore. So we went with somebody else who had a better rating. And other than that, the only major additions of note were that Rossville Ambulance Service has come on board with Clinton County now. So one of the things that we told them that we could do for them was to help them with their insurance on their vehicles. So we added those in. But other than that, that was it. One thing he did recommend changing was we carry a $5,000 deductible on property for buildings, and we never have any claims. And so he recommended going to a $10,000 deductible, and that dropped our premium by $5,000. So essentially, it was a wash. So anyway, Brett and I are meeting with him tomorrow afternoon to go over that with a fine-tooth comb and make sure everything's in order. So.
Hey, Josh.
Yes.
As it relates to that, and Jordan, I don't want to steal your thunder because we talked about it at the RDC meeting, but one of the things that we weren't sure about on the redevelopment commission is whether redevelopment commission property falls under the county's policy, whether we would have to have our own.
Okay.
So there's not anything. We own 5 acres out there at the corner of the NHK property.
Right.
The redevelopment commission does now, and I assume there'll be other times when that property accumulates over time. And we don't currently have our own policy Just, we needed to clarify
I'll
that.
put that on the list of things to talk, it's tomorrow afternoon at 1:00.
Okay.
I believe Tom talked to him.
Oh, did you already cover that?
Property, yes.
It's covered.
Yeah.
It is covered?
Yeah.
Okay.
Said that, that property out there be covered, but for future things, I think that'd be a good distinction to make going forward.
I mean, if we needed to pay a portion of the premium, certainly there's a budget and it could be done, but we just didn't know whether we needed to be going out shopping for our own policy or not. So wanted to just clarify that.
In my opinion, I think it's cleaner just for us.
Okay.
But as long as it's legal.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Okay. That's the only thing I had to report, guys. So,
Hey, Josh, I
Yes?
forgot one thing, and you may have already taken care of it. Steve was at the LAPC appointment,
oh,
and we meet 4 times a year, and you may have already decided who was going to be a part of that.
I don't know.
Um, And
I don't think that's I don't think that's an official appointment on our list, but
so I just wanted to mention that.
we'll get somebody.
I'm secretary for LAPC, so I'll send out the invites. Our first meeting in February is going to be via Zoom, and then the
Okay.
other 3, typically it's at Main Street Grill, but we meet 4 times a year.
Okay.
So I just wanted to, I just happened to think of that.
Like jump out and grabbing you, or
I'm not sure what it is.
Local Emergency Plan Commission, commissioners have a seat on there, and it's you know, Renee, the sheriff, Greg Miller, somebody from the commissioners, the mayor, police department, fire department,
I would
Hospital.
health department, hospital.
Industrial,
Great.
yeah.
Thank you, Mark. Okay, so Mark's our guy for LEPC.
Okay.
So
All right.
Thank you, Mark.
I usually get an opportunity through either the fire department or something to be a part of it anyway, so it's good for you to do that. So, okay. We'll go ahead and move on to claims. Okay, in the matter of claims, we have claims dated January the 22nd, 2021, in the amount of $12,741.74. Friday claims dated January 29th, 2021, in the amount of $34,253.48. Biweekly claims dated February the 1st in the amount of $863,973.25. Court claims dated February 1st in the amount of $16,364.54. And we have a surplus dated February 1st, 2021 in the amount of $30,596.14.
I read over them, and to my knowledge,
I didn't see anything.
I would make a motion to approve them.
Okay. Motion to approve claims is approved 3-0. We have payroll dated January the 15th, 2021 in the amount of $423,244.34.
Looks good to me. I'll make sure that approve payroll.
All right, everybody gets paid.
Along with
3-0. Yes,
are all of the payroll changes.
Yes. Yep.
that I'd like for you,
they were in the
yes.
docket, right? Okay.
Do we want to go back to signing those? Up to
It
you.
doesn't matter to me. It's up to you guys. If you want to sign them, we can.
I'd like to see them, but I don't know if we need to sign them.
Yeah, I just want to see, if we can just see them ahead of time, be fine. I don't need to sign them.
Okay, and we have minutes dated. Sorry, I lost one. January the 19th, 2021.
I read through the minutes. The only thing I'd like to change is have the names changed on the bottom of the minutes and have my name added instead of.
That seems reasonable to me.
I'm so sorry.
Okay.
It was a copy.
So we'll amend, with that amendment, can I get a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Okay, motion carries 3-0. Okay, anything else that needs to come before the Board of Commissioners this morning? All right, seeing nothing, I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion. Second.
Okay, meeting adjourned.